And hello, everybody. I am David Lewis. Welcome to another session of Live with David Lewis. Today is Wednesday, May 29th. It is 11 o'clock here on the East Coast of the United States. I want to welcome everybody from all around the world for joining me today. Today, we're going to talk about an objection that we all get, that we all hate. And let's be honest with ourselves. We hate this. And I want to go home and think about it. I've been in this business a long time. I've sold thousands and thousands of cars. And I got to tell you, I'm good at what I do, and I hate that objection. I struggle overcoming that objection every single time I get it, because I want to go home and think about it is an objection of, I just don't know what I want to do. I'm not ready to buy it. And I've just invested all this time making a presentation and a demonstration, getting all the right answers, getting what I thought was all the right feedback. And at the end, they stated, I want to go home and think about it. Now, there are two types of objections that I think that we get. There's the ones that we're good at overcoming and the ones that we're bad at overcoming. So what's good? What is a good objection? To me, a good objection is that payment or price is too high. When I quote someone a payment of $500 a month with $3,000 down and they say, that's a little bit more than we really anticipated spending, that's a buying sign. Or when somebody states to me, you're not giving me enough for my trade, that also is a buying sign. It means they're ready. Doesn't mean they're going to buy, but they're ready and they want to continue the dialogue. But when someone says, I want to go home and think about it, I am really stuck. And in a few minutes, I'm going to share with you what I call my objection conversion. But first, let's analyze, why did somebody say that? Because we've got to get them to stop saying it. If we can get them to not say that objection, we'll sell more cars and make more gross. And when we talk about gross, the same thing applies with I want to go home and think about it. Usually means if we do sell the car, we're going to make no gross. Why? Because we're going to make it all about discounting. We're going to make it all about lowering the price of the car and not creating the value that we should have created in the presentation and demonstration. If you're a salesperson, you know what happens. Your manager comes in and it's the old, if I could, would you? If I could, would you? Would you do this price? Would you do this price? If I could do this, if I could do this. It's a constant giveaway. And now we're not creating value. And when everything is said and done, if you do sell that car, we all know you're going to make very, very, very little money. So what creates that objection? Well, I think it boils down to one of three things. And it's the three most important things you always have to remember when a customer is in your dealership. Customers buy cars based on four factors. Now, one of those three I'm going to talk about, and we know what the fourth was in a second. The first factor that's critical is they must find a car they love. Not like, not accept, but love. Your job as a salesperson is to find the car the customer loves. One of the biggest mistakes we make is that we qualify people. And when we qualify people, we ask questions. When we ask questions, people lie to us. And when they lie to us, we go in a bad direction. What's your budget? What's your timeline? Who else is involved in the buying decision? People lie. I would lie to you. You would lie to me. So when I ask, what's your budget? And you tell me $400, I show you $400 cars. But you didn't like the $400 car. Would you have spent $550 if you found a car you love? Absolutely. So the first thing we have to do is get the customer out in the lot, find a car they love. I don't care how long that takes. If that takes 2 hours, it takes 2 hours. Because if you're on the wrong car, your odds of closing that deal are so low. Every time invested has been wasted. So number one, we got to find the car they love. Number two, the customer has to like you. Now, we've all heard the word rapport. I hate that word. Rapport is defined as a harmonious relationship between two people. And harmonious is defined as something that's soothing and comforting. You're a car salesperson. I'm never going to have rapport with you. We're never going to have a harmonious relationship. See, we have two different goals. Your goal as a salesperson is to sell me a car now and for as much gross as possible. My goal as a consumer is to buy when I'm ready and pay as little as possible. So we have two totally separate goals. How can rapport be built? Now, if you've known this customer for 20 years and you've had an outside relationship with them, sure. Could there be some rapport? Absolutely. I'm not going to deny that. But that's such a small percentage. So number two is the customer has to like you. Like you. Not build rapport. They got to like you. They have to enjoy being around you. They have to find their time with you to be enjoyable. Well, I can tell you how not to make it enjoyable, and that's if you pressure somebody, if you're constantly trial closing somebody, if you're making them feel uncomfortable, they're not going to enjoy being around you. That's why for years, I've always preached, stay away from these trial closes. Who's the first person buying a new car? Who's the first person you're going to show your new car to? If we come together in terms of numbers, you're ready to buy a car today. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how would you rate that? That's pressure. You see, if you've done your job right throughout the sales process, they're going to give you the buying signs. You don't have to ask the questions. And don't forget, when you ask questions, people get defensive. When they get defensive, they lie. And when they lie, you get bad answers. And you don't want that to happen. Be nice, be kind, be friendly. Let customers talk. Silence is always the golden rule. See, here's what's interesting. 2, 3, 4 people in a group cannot have total silence. It's just impossible. Like on the demo drive, I always preach, don't speak until you are spoken to. You have Mr. and Mrs. Smith in the front seat, you're in the back seat. How long can you go with total silence? 30 seconds, a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Somebody's got to talk first. Don't let it be you. Because they'll talk to each other and they'll talk to you and they'll give you signs. And now they're going to like you. You're going to have dialogue that they control, not you. They're going to enjoy being with you. Okay, number 3, they have to want to do business at your dealership. That's a combination of finding the right car, getting them to like you, and other factors that could be out of your control. Could be your Google reviews, how people perceive your dealership in your town or community, in your environment. It could be how your managers treat people when they're in the dealership, how managers treat other employees. So they've got to enjoy, they have to want to buy at your dealership. That's why, to me, doing a service walk at the end of your sales presentation is so critical. So many people, I say, oh, I do a service walk all the time. When? Well, after I close the deal. Well, you've already closed the deal. What's the value then? Do it as part of your sales presentation. That gets people to want to buy from you. Now, there is a 4th reason. So they got to find a car they love. They got to like you. They got to want to buy from you. And now the price. Let's be honest. Price is an important factor. Just because they found a car they like you and they want to visit your dealership doesn't mean they're going to lay down at the price you give them and they're going to pay full list. That's just not going to happen. So price isn't a factor. Price is a factor, excuse me. But price is not a big factor if you fall into those categories of, I found a car I love, I like you, and I want to do business at your dealership. So now you've gone through all your process, You've gone through all the process. You found a car they love, they like you, they want to do business at your dealership. When you sit down at your desk and you present the numbers, the most important thing to do now is to ask for the sale. So many times I've seen salespeople present the numbers and shut up. And that's when you get, I want to go home and think about it. You did not ask the question. I always tell the story about, I was in a Bahama breeze up in Philadelphia one day having lunch. And next to me was a young lady and a guy sat down next to her and they started talking. And I knew that he was going to want to ask her on a date, but he never asked. He was waiting and waiting for her to give him the signs. And I turned to him and I said, just ask her. And I looked at her, I said, if he asks you for a date, will you say yes? And she looked at me and she said, yes. I said, ask him. Don't be afraid to ask for the sale. Because if you don't ask for the sale, you're going to get, I want to go home and think about it. If you presented me with numbers and didn't ask for the sale, I would probably say to you, okay, well, let me go home and think about it. It's a logical thing for me as a consumer to say. And I'll be honest with you, it's just me. I'm not a fan of circle the number that works best for you. How do you want it registered and titled? I preach what I call the 7 most effective words to closing a car deal. Present the numbers and ask these 7 words. Would you like to buy the car? Period. End of discussion. You will get less people to say, I want to go home and think about it. Because now you've asked the question. Now, are we going to eliminate I want to go home and think about it altogether? No, of course not. Let's be realistic. But you'll get less people to say it. Remember, I'm not going to give you the cure-all solution for I want to go home and think about it. I'm going to help you in a minute. But I'm trying to eliminate getting that objection. Would you like to buy the car? Well, we would, but the payment's just a little bit more than we were anticipating. Or I don't think you're giving me enough for my trade. Good objections. So what are we going to do now with the customer that does state, I want to go home and think about it? Well, let me tell you what you should not do. Unfortunately, what a lot of you have been trained to do is this, is don't start trying to narrow it down. Well, is it me? Is it the car? Are we on the right car? Don't ask those kind of questions because people are going to get negative with you. You've already gotten the I want to go home and think about it. And if you start narrowing it down, people are going to lie to you. I say this consistently. We've all heard buyers are liars. Don't create that environment. Don't ask the questions of, is it the car? Is it me? Is it the dealership? Is it the price? Is it the payment? I'm going to show you how to get that in a second. But what you do want to do is you want to get them off of I want to think about it, and you want to plant a seed in their mind for an objection that you're good at overcoming. And I call this my objection conversion. And this is the thing I want you to walk away with today. When someone says, I want to think about it, you have to plant something else in their mind that they will gravitate to so you can go to what you're good at. Me, personally, I like price. I like people to say that payment's too high. They're not gonna, I like that. So what I do is I plant that seed in their mind. So when somebody says to me, I want to go home and think about it, I respond with, well, that's surprising. It's a very popular car. Most people that do look at it usually do purchase it. Not everybody, but most do. But I'll tell you what I have found. Most who do not, who want to go home and think about it, want to think about the price. Let's be honest. $500 a month for the next 72 months is a big investment. Would you say that's one of the things that you want to consider? And everybody is going to gravitate. You've given them an excuse and say, yeah, it is a lot of money. We do want to think about the payment. Now what I've just done is created a payment buyer. And I'm good at overcoming payment. And then I'm going to go into my response of how to overcome the payment of the $500 a month. You see, I've converted them. Now, it's very important. When you convert somebody, you have to make sure that you're sympathetic to them. You can't be applying pressure. I applied a little pressure, but then I released it. So I said, it's surprising. Most people that do look at this car usually end up purchasing it. That's a little bit of a pressure for me. But then I retract and I say, but not everyone. Let them know that, okay, not everyone. Let's be realistic. Not everyone buys it. Tell you what I found. Most people that do want to go home and think about it usually want to think about the price. And then I play into them. It is a lot of money, isn't it? And most people say, yes, it is. So can I assume that price and payment is something you want to consider as well? And most people, again, say yes. So it's really important. I'm going to start wrapping up here. I'll answer some questions that are coming in. I think I've got one or two here. So what I want to wrap up is this. Make the best presentation you can. Find the car they love, number one. Number two, get them to like you. Don't apply pressure. Don't be that typical car salesperson. Do the unexpected. Number three, create an environment where they want to buy at your dealership, which is by doing 1 and 2 and doing a very good service walk. And then ask for the sale. Would you like to buy the car? So I am getting a couple of questions. What car do I start with during the inventory walk? Who is asking that question over here? Well, perfect. Great question. What car do I start with? I personally always start with the cheapest car. So when I qualify a customer, I don't ask the typical questions. What's your budget? What's your timeline? Are you paying cash or financing? I ask 1 or 2 questions. Actually, I ask 2 questions. The first question is, welcome to the dealership. Are you looking for a new or used car? I've never had anybody lie to me about that answer. I've never had anybody get defensive. Customer says a new. Great. Then I ask them, are you looking for a coupe, a sedan, a minivan, utility vehicle, or truck? Again, I've never had anybody lie to me about that answer. Nobody comes in looking for a truck and says, well, we're looking for a coupe. And I've never had anybody get defensive. Well, how dare you ask me that question? New or used, coupe, sedan, minivan, utility vehicle, or truck. Once I get that answer, I then take them to the cheapest car in that category. I'll make it easy. Let's say they want a sedan. I now walk them over to the new sedans. That's what they want, a new sedan, to the cheapest line we have. I say, these are the new base models. And then I shut my mouth. And I wait, and I listen, and I watch. Some people will say right away, too small, not what we're looking for. Great, take it to the next line up. Some people will walk over the car, start looking at them. Maybe their body posture says they really don't like it. Maybe they're looking across the road at something bigger. And I slowly inch them up till they land on the vehicle that they love. Truck, new truck. Great. I take them over to all the trucks. You might not have the trucks all set up differently. Take them over to all the trucks. I say, these are here. These are all our brand new trucks. And I shut my mouth. I might stand there for 10 minutes silent. Let them walk through each truck and look at each truck. You know what everybody does? They all do the same thing. That's what's so great about this. The first thing, they look at the truck. Second thing they look at is the window sticker. Third thing they do is they look inside the windows. And I wait and wait and wait. Maybe they ask me questions. Why is this truck, $74,000 and this truck is $82,000? And I explain. I don't ask questions. I let them do their own thing. Let them think that they're in control. You'll watch. They'll keep gravitating back to one vehicle. They'll keep comparing one vehicle. Now, how do I get them into the next step? See, now I want them in the truck. I want them to sit in the truck. So I might ask them hey, is there a particular color that catches your eye? The black one. Great. Let me get the keys. Let's sit inside of it. Let's see if the interior matches your expectations as the exterior. And now I've got them in. Okay. Questions. How long should my demo drive be? Another great question. I like a long demo drive. Me, I know some of you are going to cringe at this, 30 minutes. I'm a long demo drive guy. I believe that demo drive sells everything. I've landed them on the right vehicle. Now it's all about going on that demonstration drive. See, I'm trying to eliminate, I want to go home and think about it. I want them to find that perfect vehicle. As I said earlier, when I'm on the demo drive, lips are sealed. We get in the car, we start driving. I don't say a word. It's amazing how many people will turn to each other and ask the questions I was trained to ask 30 years ago. How does it drive? How does it feel? What do you like? What are your thoughts? Let them control the dialogue. They'll ask me questions, and then we'll get into conversations. They might ask me, how long have you worked here? Well, I've worked here for 5 years. Then I can ask a question. What kind of work do you guys do? You see, they're controlling the dialogue. They ask me, do I live locally? Oh, I live over here. Where do you guys live? See, I can still get my questions out, but I'm letting the customer be in control. Remember, the more they're in control, the lower their defenses get. The lower their defenses get, the easier it is for them to find the vehicle they like you, and want to do business at your dealership. To, again, eliminate the I want to go home and think about it. Make it hard for them. Be unique and be different. Okay, there's a bunch of questions coming in now. I'm going to answer most of them by email. I don't want to run out of time. We're almost at our 20-minute limit here. So listen, thank you all for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again. We'll pick another topic, and we'll do this again very, very soon. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.